What's going on? I'm cruising home from work right now. This is just like a little intro to the video. I just wanted to say that the video is a little weird. There's a bunch of clips. It almost seem like random clips, but it's Max doing like the finishing touches on that gray MAXI. Our buddy Zach working on his panhead. And if you're interested in that gray MAXI build at all, at the end of the video, I did a little interview with Max talking about why he built a Pook K-Star 70. Not that they're a bad setup, but he's had so many of them, and why he keeps building them. And in my eyes, the dream Pook setup. So if you're into it, stick with it, and thanks for checking out the video.
Wait, that organ's good. Where'd you get that at? Side of the road.
$50 for nothing.
Are you? What?
No.
That's it.
Dude.
Put him on the back seat. I got you.
They're from Switzerland.
Good job. Here's like a little piece of string.
Kidding me?
You kidding me?
You gotta kid me. If you got an HPI on an E50 and you don't have one of these, you're doing it wrong. It's got to come back off. Yeah.
On what bike was that?
On the
What?
Pinto.
What for bike? For in the Pinta?
On the Pinto.
You want to Loctite that on there?
Fuck no.
Why not?
Because you got to hammer it on in the first place. Man, I never Loctite anything. Just give it to Hershey. You Loctite your axle nuts? You know? No.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
I don't.
Actually, mine are greased.
Yeah, probably covered in grease.
Make sure you tighten the correct sequence.
Probably just easier with the this and stuff.
Does anybody get the deals on those?
Get the deals on everything.
The deals on the auto lights.
It's like no one's out there. Like it's really fucking insane shit.
You get all juiced up. Alright.
Because it's like brainwashing, or just because? Nothing that interests me on there.
Fucker's hard to cut.
You can't do that.
I'm not. It's not gonna go anywhere. Hold tight. Alright. The stock 1616 comes with an 82. I think 85. Maybe 86. There's 86. So now when I go back to building like a mild thing, like a treats kit, I have all the jets for it. Because I did it like 4 years ago.
So it's for kids. Treats kits are for kids.
This is a dad build. It really is. I mean, any responsible dad would know to put sealed bearings in their rims. You run a nice O-ring chain, you know, don't fuck with it too much, overbuild the stuff, you know, with a little tiny cylinder on it, and then it'll never break. instead of trying to run your poop gill on a stock 2 shoe.
Can you hear the LEDs humming, Max? Check it out.
You didn't even mark it. Here, pull it out. Is there marks on the flywheel? Yeah, you can definitely see it.
Pretty tight.
Here, I'll hold the light. So what is that, 2.3?
Yeah, it should be more like that.
So mark that.
Yeah, it's still too advanced.
I needed you to do that.
27.1 left hand thread, is that what that is?
Yeah.
Get in trouble then, right?
No.
Because it's Sam's music.
Yeah, so
You couldn't
just...
really get in trouble for Pantera though. That's...
No, you can't get in trouble. Max finally got his K-Star Kickstart E50 out. Is it still an E50 if it's a Kickstart, or is it a different model number?
It's still an E50.
Tight. So Max pretty much spent it didn't even take you that long, like what, a month? Not even?
I probably worked on it like probably a week of work on it, and then time just waiting for parts to come in.
But basically, he had this silver MAXI frame kicking around for forever. And we used to rip it all the time, and then it would sit the most. But it's been that push-around bike for so long. And he finally built it up and doing a roll to the other side.
Yeah.
To get that kickstart setup going. It's a Kickstart E50. Talk about the motor a little bit.
Okay, so this is a Kickstart E50 that came off of a Puch Macho. They weren't sold in America. There's a similar Kickstart motor that was put on Magnum X Puch kids dirt bikes, but this one is from a Euro MAXI, and you can tell because the way the kicker is, it doesn't fold. It's a fixed position kicker. It's behind the foot peg. This motor I got from Dose Cycles and rebuilt the whole thing with new bearings, new seals, an unstuffed DMP race crank, lightened, a DMP cylinder, 70cc, I think it's 44 millimeter. It's case matched. It has a K-Star head, a 70cc K-Star head. It has a Shaw 1616 or Delorto SHA 1616 carburetor. It has a 15 millimeter SHA intake. The ignition on it is, spin it around again. It's an HPI mini rotor. I think it has a 55 watt lighting coil, so it has really bright lights.
That's just the stock, non-modified HPI mini rotor, correct?
Yeah, totally. I mean, it's how you buy them.
Yeah.
It's a definite improvement over the OEM Bosch points that come on this bike. This one, actually, when I got this motor, it didn't even have the original ignition on it, so HPI mini rotor, but it has the weight on it, which
which I have you in the beginning of this video installing it.
Yeah, it's
So that's kind of where it
the
leaves
weight.
off.
The weight is a good thing. I think honestly, anyone running an HPI on just about any moped should have that weight on there because it's gonna help your bearings stay together and not exploded. Because what happens is you have a heavy clutch on one side of your crank and a light flywheel on the other side of the crank, and when you chop your throttle when you're riding, you get torsion on that crank, and you can actually break your crank, or you can just hurt your crank bearings and really mess them up. I've done it many times. This weight keeps your bearings, seems to keep your bearings going a lot longer. It also smooths out any rough spots in your idle or anything, gives you more inertia on the engine. Once it gets up to speed, you have more pulling power. There's just a lot of benefits to having the flywheel weight. Your moped came with a heavy flywheel for a reason. It takes a little bit longer to spool it up, but the trade-off is there's more benefits than negatives that flywheel weight gives you. Right now,
I saw, yeah, you grabbed those foot pegs. Those are pretty dope.
the foot pegs are just some bolt-on foot pegs from
Treats.
Treatland. They work perfectly with this kickstart motor. I don't know if these were supposed to come on MAXIs before, but it has a stop. It has a plate or a piece that an arm that comes out and goes into your pipe mount.
That's
It fits
sick.
right in there. When you install this, you have to take there's plastic bushings in your pedal shaft slot, and those have to come out, otherwise it won't sit right. Right now it's geared at 1545. Something I found with these Euro kickstart motors that's different than a Magnum X kickstart motor or a regular pedal start E50. It does not have nearly as much front sprocket clearance. I tried to put an 18 tooth on it and it hit, which is weird because I put 18 tooth sprockets on just about every other E50 and never had a problem.
Fact. So you should put that on the wiki.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you can Dremel it out, but I'm probably going to end up just putting a 40 tooth rear on it and run 1540. See where that gets me. I mean, it still goes 45, maybe 50 down a hill the way it's set up right now.
Brand new chain. That's sick.
Brand new chain. Oh, these are snowflakes, but these were converted to
Sealed
bearings.
Yeah,
and
I remember you did that.
They have, I think 11 or 12 millimeter axles. It's bigger than what I think the stock axle on this is either 10 or 11, and these are 12. So it's a thicker axle. It has sealed bearings, which that's a huge Achilles heel on Puch Snowflake rims, is that they have thin axles, and you try to go fast on them with those loose bearings. It's just, you're asking for bad news. You got to constantly pull your wheel and adjust them, and it's just safer to have.
Did you do the front too?
Yep, both of them are converted.
Sick. Look how fat that is. Yeah, I put a clip of you spinning the nut on. I didn't know if people would get that it's fresh because they don't ever spin on and off that nice when they're like been thrashed. But that's sick. So sealed bearings, brand new tires.
Quarter turn
Showed before.
Quarter turn throttle.
Yeah, you like those? I never had one with a clear top and the gear going on like that. Do you
I wouldn't
like
want
that?
it. I wouldn't want it on my street bike, but I would definitely put that on a moped.
So
because
super short. Wow.
Especially
on an SHA.
An
quarter turn throttle
an
on an
SHA has one jet, and you basically are tuning this thing for
So
full
funny.
throttle. So it's like an on-off switch. It also has a GUIA, I don't know, some headlight that came off Treats. I think it's a 5-inch square headlight. And then it has an LED light inside of the stock housing. I just pulled the guts out of the stock taillight housing.
That's the way to go. I do that on a lot of things.
Through an LED. Honestly, the LED just is kind of jammed in there, but it seems to work.
What kind of temps you hitting?
Right now, just around town, it'll barely break 300.
Sick. But you haven't even ridden it that much. Like, what do you think?
I took
Less
it on
than
a longer
200
ride,
miles?
but it was jetted. Right now, it's jetted at 82, and it's timed at about 2 millimeters before top dead center. Seems to be pretty close, but I had to just get it on a straightaway and just hold it wide open, really see what it does. In my opinion, it gets hotter around town because, another thing about this bike, the clutch in it, which you can't see, but it has a hammer, the version 1 hammer clutch in it.
The original.
The original hammer clutch. It's my favorite clutch for a Puch. They seem to last really long, and the starter plate was modified because if you've ever seen a kickstart clutch, it's just like a Magnum X kickstart clutch. The base plate for the clutch is different, and it has a special starter plate that sits on top of it. The bell on a Kickstart E50, on this style Kickstart E50 and a Magnum X Kickstart E50, both of them have a thicker bell. So the actual metal around the bell is thicker, and they have no starter plate. They have no grooves in them for a starter plate. They're just a regular shaped bell that your clutch sits in. So no starter plate rattling around, nothing hanging off the bell of your clutch to just make your bushing fail even faster than it's going to fail.
So tight, it should
It's a
prove to
3
be
bearing too.
bulletproof. Do you think this is going to be your go-to bike for next year, or are you going to...
Who knows?
You don't care.
I get bored of mopeds pretty quick, so.
You think this is this winter cruiser and then you're done?
Well, it's built. The whole thing is this thing's kind of overbuilt.
The ultimate loner.
It's got a crazy ignition on it, and it also has a really good clutch in it, and it has good bearings in it, and it has a good crank in it, and it has sealed wheel bearings. Aside from maybe a disc brake, this bike's ready to go 65 miles per hour, but you're not going to go that fast on that cylinder. My thought is down the road, I'll probably
Just to throw like a Polini on it
probably
or something.
put a Polini on it.
I think you could put a fatter pipe and still make it a lot more easily rideable.
I could port it too, but
Well, don't port it. Just I'd put a fat pipe on and see what that does. Easily bolt on, and you could hit a way higher speed with that cylinder.
yeah, that Fuego pipe is that Boss pipe.
It cruises though. It goes.
The pipe's not the best. They actually have pretty good top end, pretty bad bottom end. Okay, kind of comes on around 20 miles per hour. That pipe has a ding in the bottom of it. You can't really tell.
They all do from the kickstand clacking
Yeah.
it, right?
I think that's what it's from, but it isn't. Anytime a pipe has a dent in it, I feel like it's not as good. It doesn't hit as hard as it should.
Damaged goods. Sick.
It's got oversized brake cables on it too.
Tight. Yeah, they were pretty thick.
Like motor
Yeah, look at the
size.
trim job. I liked them. They were perfectly trimmed. Good job.
That's the worst. You see someone with their cafe moped
Yeah.
with
And the
stock
cables are
cable
jacked
length.
out.
It just drives you nuts. It's not hard to trim your cables.
Dude, that's a scary thing though. It's like,
It's a good little bike. It's definitely fun to ride. The kickstart is so nice too because you can just sit on it and it could die at a light and you could just pop it right back over. You don't have to put it on the kickstand. You don't have to pedal like a goof. It's not like you have to run with it to get it started. The only downside is if it's being a pain in the butt to start, you have to sit there and just kick it and kick it and kick it. You can't just pedal it and keep it turning over.
tight.
But yeah, that's it. That's my Maxi.
Sick, dude.
Max's Maxi.